Welcome, you're watching Vox News, your daily evening news with Rita Kamkumo. Our headlines today. Madagascan students have resumed classes and tasted COVID organics, the president's cure for coronavirus. Ethiopian Airlines is not ready to give up. CEO says the company will do whatever it takes to survive. The African Court of Justice on Human and People's Rights has ordered Ivory Coast to suspend the arrest warrant against former Prime Minister Guillaume Soro and to free his jailed supporters. In Madagascar, 9th grade and 12th grade students are going back to school after a month of lockdown. The deconfinement is gradually put in place and includes free distribution of COVID organic drinks, a traditional medicine presented by President Andry Rajoelina as preventive and curative against coronavirus.
The president said this remedy cures, and we trust him, so we drink it.
Yeah, it's healing. We hope that there will really be healing so that we can have a happy life in Madagascar, because the president is making efforts to save all the people of Madagascar.
Some skeptical parents ended up granting this herbal remedy the benefit of the doubt.
When I discovered this drink, I hesitated as a parent. I said to myself, how come sick people don't drink it? And why do we make students drink it? I hesitated a lot.
While the news about the Madagascan improved traditional remedy against coronavirus has already told the world, the international scientific community is questioning its effectiveness. Amid the global health crisis, the Ivorian government is taking action for school children by establishing new ways of learning at home. My School at Home is an initiative to enable pupils to take classes despite the closure of schools due to the coronavirus pandemic.
Yes, I did understand the class, but since it's on TV, I couldn't ask questions.
The professor showed us how to calculate the capacities of the soil, but he was too fast, so we couldn't take all the calculations.
The educational program, which for now only concerns pupils in 5th grade, 9th grade and 12th grade, is also accessible online and should soon become available for all classes.
But on Facebook, we have a channel that we also use, EducTV, which the ministry created. And from EducTV, they can also go and watch the films that are on. They can even download the films and even the courses. They can replay them as many times as they want if they think they haven't understood. And very soon we are going to create an interaction between us and the students so that the teachers can answer their questions.
Other private initiatives have followed in the government's footsteps by delivering courses via the WhatsApp mobile application.
True that we are in Abidjan, but access to TV is not easy for everyone. Personally, we don't have a TV at home, but with the online courses, I can follow the lessons better. And even when you don't understand, you can even ask questions to the teacher. You even talk like friends. It's very interesting. He answers you when you don't understand. He makes a voice message or he even makes a video to send you, and then it's even more understandable.
These are free courses organized by a group of private teachers in the community of Pobwe and supported by the town councillor, Mr. Bande Kramoko. These courses take place on WhatsApp platforms in groups of 50 students.
The decision to close schools was taken on the 16th of March by the National Security Council to limit the spread of the virus, after which the Ministry of National Education decided to introduce online teaching. The African Court on Human and People's Rights ordered Ivory Coast on Wednesday to suspend its arrest warrant against former Prime Minister and President of the National Assembly, Guillaume Soro. The African Union institution, which was seized at the beginning of March by Mr. Soro and his relatives, also ordered the Ivorian state to grant a temporary release to 19 of his relatives who have been imprisoned in the country for 4 months and accused of complicity. To justify its decision that was taken unanimously, the court argued that the arrest warrant and the deposit warrants could seriously compromise the exercise of the claimant's freedoms and political rights. The court also highlighted the risk of causing irreparable damage to the plaintiffs and the presumption of innocence. The candidate for the Ivorian presidential election scheduled for October was the subject of an arrest warrant issued by the Ivorian justice since the end of December 2019 for an alleged attempt of insurrection and embezzlement of public funds, all charges that he denied. The court gives the Ivorian state 30 days to enforce the judgment. In Botswana, President Mokgweetsi Masisi has dismissed with immediate effect 2 senior officials of the Ministry of Health, as announced in a statement issued on Wednesday by the government spokesperson Andrew Sesini. According to Mr. Sesini, the president's decision relates to the permanent secretary of the Ministry of Health, Mr. Solomon Sekwakwa, and the deputy permanent secretary of the same ministry, Dr. Morrison Sinvula. The government has yet to explain the decision. On the economic level, Ivorian cocoa traders, whose country is the world's leading producer, will benefit from their government's support to face competition with multinationals such as Nestle, Lindt, or the American giant Archer Daniels Midland that dominate the Ivorian market for cocoa exports. The government will also guarantee their competitiveness in the sector, as announced on Wednesday by government spokesman Sidi Touré. The support consists of a subsidy of 35 CFA francs or $5 per kilo of cocoa, capped at 50,000 tons per operator and per campaign, and concerns cocoa campaigns from 2019 to 2022. The state has also decided to set up a 10 billion CFA francs fund, or $16.5 thousand, to support investment in cocoa. According to Constance Kwame, Secretary General of the Ivorian Trade Association, these government measures will allow national coffee and cocoa export companies to continue to exist and to make their activities prosper.
This company is an amazing company. I think we are going to survive. We're going to survive. We will do whatever it takes to make sure that we survive.
Ethiopian Airlines, Africa's biggest airline, has already lost $550 million and closed most of its passenger lines since the beginning of the coronavirus pandemic. However, its CEO, Tiwadi Mariam, is endeavoring to find ways to turn things around.
If you put yourself on my shoes, the only way for Ethiopian Airlines is to expand or refocus its resources, energy and time on businesses which are not affected by coronavirus.
To mitigate the disastrous impact of the pandemic, the company has turned to charter flights and freight.
Will we be able to sustain with only 15% of our revenue, because cargo constitutes only 15% of revenue? For a short period of time, yes. But for how long? Very difficult to predict.
The company started to play a significant role in the fight against coronavirus in Africa by distributing medical equipment across the continent.
All kinds of problems that Africa has suffered, we have always stood with Africa. We have never abandoned Africa in bad times. In such a globalized world, so much integrated and interconnected, it is assumed that the pandemic will somehow spread beyond China. But I have never thought that it will spread like this, at this speed, and also in this magnitude.
The CEO warned that the company may not be able to survive for more than 3 months before having to seek financial assistance from the outside. Finally, the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa released a report last week entitled COVID-19, Protecting African Lives and Economies, in which the Commission says that Africa-to-Africa partnerships could be an effective way to address the challenges posed by the new coronavirus.
This is the time to produce and consume locally, and hence the call for the businessmen and women to step in and produce locally, and that is already happening. But it has now to be elevated to another scale, given the opportunity that it's there. Then the second part of the conversation on our partnerships is internally also. We are arguing that closing borders is, of course, an important measure to contain the virus, the spread of the virus. But it should not result in completely closing the opportunities for example, cross-border trade. Earlier I did mention about the informal sector. A lot of the informal sector make their transactions across our borders, which therefore, if they are closed or hermetically closed, then it means that you will be exposing those that depend on those cross-border trade to much more, let's say, vulnerability. It's about, again, how we calibrate our measures, how we continue to ensure that the pandemic is arrested, but at the same time, the economic sector is not strangulated. That we utilize the African Continental Free Trade Area as the engine to facilitate this collaboration, those partnerships, the emergence of regional value chains, more trade in intermediate goods so that the share of intra-African trade increases. This is the opportunity.
Mr. Pedro also believes that in addition to government measures, citizens have a role to play in mitigating the effects of the pandemic.
Addressing the pandemic is a joint responsibility of governors and the governed, means all of us. So, meaning therefore that when measures are issued, we should step in and comply. When we are asked to wear masks, we should wear those masks. So this is our responsibility as citizens. We need to be responsible citizens and play our own role as part of the effort.
That's it for today. Thank you for watching Vox News.